So what's up guys, I am BlackOpsAmazing, welcome back to another Zombies Q&A on the channel, taking your questions from the comment section below to do with the storyline and Easter eggs, and answering them. If you enjoyed today's video, as always, a like rating would be appreciated. Could we shoot for 1,000 likes on this video? Make sure you are subscribed, and without further ado, let's get into it. Here we go. So the first question of today comes from Tobias Brown, and this person says, "Hey BOA, what was the point of Richthofen blowing up the Earth?" So I know what you want to ask, but that's a little bit incorrect. In fact, it wasn't Richthofen that blew up the Earth, it was Maxis, Nikolai, Takeo and Dempsey. All three of those characters participated in blowing up the Earth. On Moon, when Richthofen finally took control of the zombies, when he switched bodies with Samantha and completed his grand scheme. As we know, that then gave him full control of the zombies and the ether, and so Maxis obviously had to do something about this. Since he was trapped in the computer systems on Moon, Maxis then told the remaining members of the Ultimus crew, which was Takeo, Nikolai and Dempsey, he asked them for their help to defeat Richthofen. They agreed, and so they launched 3 missiles from the Moon to the Earth, destroying it, leaving it fractured and broken. And the reason why Maxis wanted to blow up the Earth is so that he could sever Richthofen's connection with the ether. He thought that if he did this, then obviously that would mean that Richthofen lost his power, he would no longer be able to control the zombies. But Maxis's plan didn't really go as he wanted. Yes, he blew up the Earth, yes, he destroyed Richthofen's connection to the ether, so he didn't have ultimate power, but Richthofen was still in control. So that was why Maxis blew up the Earth. It was to try and bring down Richthofen. TB Video says, why don't the zombies attack Leroy in Buried? This is a question that I get answered quite a lot, that I honestly don't really know the answer to. With these questions, with most of them that I haven't answered so far, the simple reason probably is either because I've answered them, I don't have an answer, or they're just not really worth answering. But with this one, we don't know. Now, we've had similar characters to Leroy before. I guess you could say George from Call of the Dead, but the zombies didn't attack him because he was a zombie. Other characters I can think of that are similar is maybe Brutus, but again, he was a zombie, so that's why he didn't get attacked. But Leroy is different. He wanders around the map. From what we see, he doesn't look like he's infected. He doesn't look like a zombie. He's just a well, I'd say normal. He's a bit on the tall side, but he definitely looks like a human. But as we can see, the zombies don't attack him. And as we've seen throughout COD, the zombies seem to have killed every other human out there. They killed members belonging to the Flesh. They killed a load of people surviving on Earth, fighting against the zombies, so why don't they go after Leroy? It's interesting, we do know that Richthofen is controlling the zombies in Buried. He is telling them to attack the transit crew, so he possibly is telling them not to attack Leroy. That could be one instance. I mean, are they just scared of him? I mean, he's a freaking giant guy. Like, if he came up against me, I'm like 6 foot, I don't know, 2, 3. This guy's like 10 foot. If he came against me, I'd be shitting my pants. So the zombies scared of him? Probably not. The only other thing you could say then is Leroy a zombie? He doesn't look like it. His eyes aren't glowing. His flesh doesn't seem to be rotten in any way. But we do know that Leroy has teleported. He's traveled through time, through a rift, and on his way, was he possibly infected with 115? We do know he was alive during the year 1200, when the Apothecans were alive once again, fighting against the Keepers, Primus, and also the Wolf King in the Great War. And since Leroy was the servant of the Wolf King, did Leroy somehow back then become infected? I mean, he doesn't look like it, so I don't know. I'm not sure why the zombies don't attack him. The most logical one I can think of is just because Richthofen tells them not to, but I don't know. Let me know your thoughts in the comments. Nathan Dove says, why is the Mob of the Dead plane in the Giant on top of the catwalk building? So yes, in the Giant on the rooftop, you can see the Mob of the Dead plane has crashed here. Now, we know a load of strange things have been happening all throughout Black Ops 3 to do with this plane. We saw it in Shadows of Evil, flying across the sky, and then we see it again, this time crashed in the Giant. So obviously, somehow the Mob of the Dead crew have crashed, but there was a cipher in Gorod Karovi that explained this, or at least we think this is what it links to. And it said, it was a strange flight. The plane crashed. We passed through time and space, in a way flying over areas that shouldn't be there. There was no sign of any remains. I don't know where it landed. Honest. So this cipher sounds like it's from the perspective of one of the characters on the plane. Whether this was the Weasel, Finn, Sal or Billy, we don't know, but they tell us that they crashed the plane. They say that they were passing through time and space, flying over areas that shouldn't be there. These different areas were of course Shadows of Evil. We know that Alcatraz is located in San Francisco. Shadows of Evil is nowhere near there, so that's an area that shouldn't be there. Again, the Giant is in Germany, which is again nowhere near San Francisco, so these areas that they were flying over that shouldn't be there were these two locations. Maybe they flew to other locations though, we don't know. But anyway, it finishes saying, there was no signs of any remains, I don't know where it landed, honest. So obviously they crashed the plane, but they don't know exactly where it crashed, so by that possibly they jumped off just before the plane crashed. So does that mean the Mob of the Dead crew are located somewhere around the Giant? FaZe Conqueror says, please answer. Why do the CDC and CIA have a grudge against one another? PS, love your videos. So I wouldn't say they have a grudge against one another, but both groups definitely don't like each other. In fact, they try and outlive each other. They are both government groups. Obviously, CDC stands for Center of Disease Control, and then the CIA is Central Intelligence Agency. But yeah, they don't particularly like each other. If you play Grief in particular, you will know that the CDC opposes the CIA. Obviously, they try and outlive them. As to why they don't like each other, though, we don't really know. I mean, I guess it's just two groups coming up against one another, although both of them are part of the government, which is a little bit strange. Maybe the CDC don't believe in what the CIA are doing, and the CIA don't believe in zombies and maybe think that the CDC have something to do with it, or they're not doing a good enough job. I mean, I really don't know. I've always thought it's quite strange, but yeah, for some reason they just don't get along. Rapdog says, why did Russman lose his memory? Now this is a simple one to answer. We know that Russman used to work at Broken Arrow, and Broken Arrow was a group that did a lot of experiments using Element 115. They created animals known as bios, these deadly creatures. They were doing experiments with 115, and because Russman was exposed to Element 115 for so long, we knew that one of its side effects is memory loss. We see some of those effects happen to our characters of Takeo, Nikolai Dempsey and Richthofen throughout the Giant especially. They can't remember a lot of things. They begin to lose a little bit of their memory because of their mass exposure to 115, and this exact same thing happened to Russman when he worked at Broken Arrow. Because he was exposed to it, because he was touching it and holding it so much, it eventually led to him losing his memory. The next comment says, BOA, how come we can't build a defense in World War II? By the way, have a great time on your holiday, so thanks dude, but I don't know, it's kind of strange not being able to build barriers in zombies. As you know, if you haven't played World War II zombies, then maybe you don't, but you actually can't rebuild barriers in that game, which kind of makes it a little bit more difficult, but it also speeds the game up. But I'm guessing they just couldn't find a way to implement it, or maybe it wasn't necessary. I mean, obviously the boards in Treyarch zombies are kind of magical, and then World War II zombies, since it's more serious, Sledgehammer would have had to come up with an idea or a reason as to how we get these barriers on the walls. I mean, I don't see how hard it could have been. We could have just used a hammer and put them on. But yeah, I don't really know why they didn't do it, but we can't build barriers in World War II. Luigi Fan 456 Gaming says, BOA, who is the voice that you hear in Black Ops 1 when you get the perks? And that is of course Samantha. The voice that we hear when we pick up the perks throughout World at War and Black Ops 1 was Samantha. The reason for that is because she was in control of the zombies, and then in Black Ops 2 we hear Richthofen's voice because of course he's in control. But throughout Black Ops 3 however, it seems that neither Samantha or Richthofen is in control, yet the voice that we hear is very similar to the one in Black Ops 1 when it was Samantha, so the voice in Black Ops 3 we can't really explain. But to answer your question about Black Ops 1, it was Samantha. Skating with Jack says, in Der Eisendrache, why in the boss fight are skeletons there instead of zombies? And that's a good question. It's something to me that's never really made sense. Why all of a sudden in Der Eisendrache are we fighting against skeletons? I mean, possibly if 115 can resurrect humans with flesh, turning them into zombies then, and it resurrects skeletons, but there's nothing there to resurrect. They don't have a heart, they've got no organs, so how exactly does that work? It's a bit strange. I suppose you could say, yeah, it's just a game, it doesn't make sense, but whatever, but I mean, in zombies, everything makes sense. And there is a reason behind everything. So why are we fighting skeletons? I don't really know, but however we are, and it's pretty cool. Oven Bunny says, how many zombies maps are there altogether? And the answer is 21. That's the main maps. Nakdir and Toten all the way to Revelations. If you want to count the side maps, which is Dead Ops Arcade and Dead Ops Arcade 2, then it's 23. But the actual answer is 21. Killerology Elite says, BOA, what is your favourite sport? I thought I'd answer this because, you know, it's a more personal question, which I like to do now and again. But that is football, and not American football. I mean, like soccer, I guess you could. We don't call it that in England, but for me, football. I freak it. I love football. You know what? I like to play a bit of FIFA every now and again. Probably more than COD. I'm not gonna lie. Although the latest one, FIFA 18, does my freaking nutting. So my favorite sport is football. So there we go. That is it for today's video. Hopefully you have all enjoyed. Have an awesome Christmas. If you have, drop a like rating on the video. Could we shoot for 1,000 likes? Make sure you are subscribed to stay up to date with the latest content, and of course we'll see you all in the next video. Thank you and goodbye.